Over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the SafePeak environment. SafePeak is a result set caching solution for SQL Server. It's the only plug-and-play solution available on the market today. And what you're looking at is the SafePeak dashboard. You can see here that we have one instance of SafePeak running. If we were in failover mode in the Enterprise Edition, you'd have another SafePeak instance to the right. Now you can see all kinds of information, memory usage, uptime, etc. Down below we have two instances of SQL Server that we've defined. And you can see that we have various statistics like open connections, whether SafePeak's enabled, cache is enabled, how many transactions per second, and you can see the cache hit ratio. These are the amount of queries and result sets that are being returned by SafePeak that didn't have to go to the database. So we're cutting down significantly on the round trip. Here we're up to 65%. You'll notice in DB Server 2 there is no cache hit ratio, so probably the cache patterns have not yet been turned on by the DBA. So let's have a look at SafePeak. And if I go into cache management, which is the heart of the system, you can see the instances that are here. You can see percentage of traffic per instance. And you can see we have on each of the screens that you're about to see, we have a very intuitive color-coded mechanism where you can see the cache hits, which are the queries and result sets returned by SafePeak. Cache misses are the queries that have been forwarded onto the database because we don't have a result set in cache for them. Patterns not activated are the patterns that we automatically created for the DBA, but they haven't been turned on yet. Unmatched SQLs, these are queries that we're not quite sure what they are. There could be that there's an error in the SQL statement itself. And updates, which are the writes or the stored procedures to the database. Now, if you look under behavior and you see I can mouse over and I can see what percentage of cache hits we have, misses, etc., and the number of transactions. And to the right, you can see cache response time. This is the amount of time it takes to return a response from SafePeak. So you can see here, for example, under DB Server 1, it's 0.040 milliseconds compared to 2.51 milliseconds on average from the database. So there's a significant difference and improvement in performance in returning queries, result sets from SafePeak cache. So let's go into DB Server 1 and have a look at what we see underneath. So you can see we have the list of database names. So very much the same intuitive structure. You can see percentage of traffic. You can see the breakdown of cache hits, misses, and so on, and you can see the response time. Now, if I go into supply chain, you'll be able to see here the tables in the database supply chain. Once again, you can see percentage of traffic and behavior and so on. And if I go into show patterns, now I'm going to see the patterns that were automatically created by SafePeak for the DBA, and you can see here, for example, if I drill down into customer order detail, we use parameters instead of using the actual numbers involved with the query, because if, for example, there are 1,000 queries coming in with a customer order detail number, we're not going to create 1,000 queries. We're going to create one cache pattern with a parameter. Now, I mentioned that we do various things automatically when SafePeak's installed. We also create tables of dependencies via metadata analysis, and that's in order that we know what the dependencies are for the particular objects that might be evicted from cache. So we know if there's a change at the database level, we know that we have to evict from cache all result sets involving that change in order to ensure 100% data integrity. Now, if I look at caching info, I'm able to tell the system, okay, for an individual pattern, I want to keep the information in cache, the result set in cache for 1 hour, for 12 hours, maybe for a day. And I also want to remove it at some particular point. So let's say that I want to remove it at 12 p.m. So I simply add that to the schedule. Now, if I go back to the dashboard, just to remind you, we have 0% cache hit on DB Server 2. So let's go into Cache Manager. Let's have a look at DB Server 2, and let's see what we can do about that, if there's a way we can improve that. So I'm going into Supply Chain under the database, and I'm going to go into the patterns, so I see what the patterns are like. And what you'll notice is on the left side here, these boxes are not checked off as they were in DB Server 1. That means they haven't been applied yet. So how do I apply them? I can simply click each one, or I can click on the top here and I can say apply, and here I'll be applying all of the different cache patterns. What that means is that the next time a query comes across that is similar to one of the cache patterns that is in SafePeak, it should trap it. It should take the result set, put it into cache, and the next time that same query comes in, it will be returned from cache. So let's go back to the dashboard and let's see what happened with DB Server 2. And here we see we invoked those cache patterns, and we're already now starting to trap those queries in SafePeak and to return the result sets from SafePeak. Remember the difference we saw before, 0.04 milliseconds versus 2.5 milliseconds? Well, that's the type of improvement that we're able to give to companies who implement SafePeak, who invoke the data patterns, and who start using the significant technology that we've developed, enabling customers to get plug-and-play result set caching for SQL Server. For more information, please visit www.safepeak.com and go to the contact section and get in touch with one of our local resellers, and we'll be happy to work with you to install SafePeak in your environment.